Let me tell you what building real wealth actually looks like. It doesn't look like a guy in a linen shirt on a laptop at a beach cafe, casually checking his crypto portfolio between sips of something expensive. It doesn't look like a trading setup with 6 monitors and a Red Bull at 2 in the morning. It doesn't look like anything you've seen in a thumbnail with a Lamborghini and a guy pointing at it like he just discovered fire. Real wealth is boring. Aggressively, almost offensively boring. It's the same 3 habits repeated every single month for years while nothing interesting happens. It's the financial equivalent of watching paint dry, except the paint is your net worth. And after a decade, it's worth a lot more than the wall. Here's the rule I want you to write down. If your financial life feels exciting, you're probably losing money. Excitement in personal finance almost always means risk. You didn't fully price. A decision made on emotion, or a product someone else designed to benefit themselves. The boring path isn't a consolation prize. It is the path. So what do I mean by unsexy habits? I don't mean complicated. I don't mean painful. I mean the quiet, repetitive, completely uninstagrammable routines that build a fortress around your money while everyone else is busy looking for shortcuts. Nobody makes a YouTube short about checking their bank statement on a Sunday night. Nobody goes viral for automating a transfer to their index fund. There's no dopamine hit, no notification, no moment worth posting about. And that's exactly why most people don't do them. We're going through 10 of these habits today. Not the flashy stuff. The stuff that actually works. The stuff that the people quietly winning with money have been doing for years, while everyone else is waiting for their big break. Let's get into it. Once a month, you sit down with your bank statement and you read every single line. Not a summary, not an app that rounds your spending into cheerful pie charts with pastel colors designed to make you feel okay about what you did last month. Every single line. This habit has one purpose: confrontation. Because the gap between what most people think they spend and what they actually spend is genuinely shocking the first time they close it. The subscriptions you forgot about, the delivery fees that somehow add up to $200, the random charges that have been quietly auto-paying for 11 months for a service you used once and forgot existed. Most people manage their money from a vague feeling. I think I'm doing okay. The monthly Financial Autopsy replaces the feeling with the facts. And the facts, uncomfortable as they are the only thing you can actually work with. Do it on paper if you can. Print the statement. Use a pen. There's something about the physical act of going line by line that makes it impossible to look away the way you can on a screen. You'll find things. You always find things. Schedule it. Same day, every month. Treat it like a bill that has to get paid. Because avoiding this conversation with yourself is one of the most expensive habits a person can have. Any purchase over $100 has to wait 48 hours. That's the whole rule. You want it, you note it, you wait 2 days. If you still want it after 48 hours and it fits the budget, you buy it. No guilt, no drama. Here's what you're actually doing. You are inserting a gap between the dopamine hit of, "I want this right now," and the moment money leaves your account. Because the want and the need are not the same thing. And your brain in a store, or worse, at midnight on a website with one-click checkout, is not the same brain that shows up 48 hours later with a coffee and a clearer head. Retail is an entire science dedicated to collapsing that gap to zero. The countdown timers. The only 3 left in stock. The people are looking at this right now. All of it is engineered to make you act before you think. The 48-hour rule is a direct countermeasure to a billion-dollar industry that is specifically designed to bypass your better judgment. What you'll find is that a significant percentage of things you almost bought, you simply stopped thinking about after a day or two. The urgency was artificial. The want was real for about 40 minutes, and then quietly dissolved. That dissolved want, that's money that stayed in your account. Run that dynamic a few times a month for a few years, and the number gets interesting. The worst saving strategy in the world is, "I'll save whatever's left over at the end of the month." There is never anything left over at the end of the month. Somehow, some way, the money finds places to go. Life expands to fill the available funds with a reliability that should be studied by scientists. Paying the ghost first means your investment or savings contribution leaves your checking account automatically, On the morning you get paid, before you ever see it, before it becomes mentally available to spend. The money is gone. It doesn't exist in your daily financial reality. You budget around what remains. Your brain cannot spend money. It doesn't register as present. That's not a willpower trick. That's just how human psychology works. We anchor to what's available, remove the money from available, and you adjust to the smaller number without the suffering you'd expect. Set up the automatic transfer today, not this weekend. Today. Link it to your payday. Make the amount slightly uncomfortable, not destructive, but not so small that you don't notice it's happening. Start there and increase it every time you get a raise before the lifestyle has a chance to expand and consume the difference. The ghost doesn't negotiate. The ghost doesn't have a bad month and does skip the transfer. That's the entire point. Your car will need tires. Christmas will happen in December. You will eventually need a dentist, a plumber, or a new laptop. None of these are surprises. They are scheduled, predictable, completely foreseeable events that millions of people somehow treat as emergencies every single time. A sinking fund is simple. You identify an irregular expense that's coming. Car maintenance, annual insurance premium, holiday gifts, whatever it is. You divide the total by the number of months until it arrives, and you set aside that amount every month in a separate account. When the bill arrives, the money is already there. No panic, no credit card, no robbing the emergency fund and then feeling guilty about it for 3 months. The psychological shift here is significant. You go from being ambushed by your own calendar to feeling like someone who has their life quietly under control. And that feeling matters, because financial stress is not just about the numbers. It's about the constant low-grade anxiety of waiting for the next thing to go wrong. Label the accounts if your bank allows it. Car fund, holiday fund, annual stuff. Seeing the money sitting there, building towards something specific, is oddly satisfying in the way that responsible adult decisions occasionally get to be satisfying. Your car tires are not an emergency. They are a math problem with a very predictable answer. Treat them accordingly. Most people spend money every single day. Not on big things, on small things. A coffee here, a snack there. A whatever it was that you bought online during a meeting because the meeting was boring and your phone was right there. Individually, none of it feels significant. Collectively, it builds a habit of constant, frictionless spending that runs on autopilot, so smoothly you barely register it's happening. Pick 1 or 2 days a week where zero money leaves your account. Nothing. Not a coffee. Not a digital purchase. Not even $1. The day is a no-spend day, and the rule has no exceptions for things that barely count. 2 things happen when you do this consistently. First, you become genuinely aware of how automatic your spending impulses are, because you'll catch yourself reaching for your wallet or opening an app out of pure habit, with no actual want attached to it at all. Second, you get creative. You eat what's in the house. You find the free version. You realize you can get through a Tuesday without purchasing anything, and the day is functionally identical to every other Tuesday. No spend days also reset your baseline. Spending every day feels normal until you stop, and then normal recalibrates downward. Do this for a few months and the daily micro-spending habit starts to lose its grip. Not because you're depriving yourself, because you've interrupted the automation. Here's one that requires a slightly uncomfortable check to write once and then rewards you quietly for the rest of the year. Almost every recurring bill you pay monthly, car insurance, home insurance, certain memberships, software subscriptions, annual fees, offers a discount if you pay the full year up front. The monthly option exists because it's convenient, and companies charge you for that convenience. Sometimes it's a small percentage. Sometimes it's the equivalent of 1 or 2 free months. It doesn't sound dramatic until you add it up across every bill that offers it. Call your car insurance provider. Ask what the annual rate is versus the monthly. The answer will mildly annoy you, which means it will also motivate you to fix it. The reason most people don't do this is cash flow. Paying a lump sum feels painful, even when the math clearly favors it. This is where the sinking fund from earlier becomes useful. You already know the annual bill is coming. You've been setting aside a little each month. When the renewal hits, the money is sitting there and the decision is easy. The monthly convenience fee is a tax on not planning ahead. It's not a large tax per bill, but it is entirely voluntary, which makes paying it slightly embarrassing once you understand that's what you're doing. Nobody wants to hear this one. I know that. But I'm going to say it anyway because it works and because nobody in the personal finance world says it plainly enough. Eat the same meals on rotation. Pick 4 or 5 dinners that your household will actually eat, that you know how to make, that use overlapping ingredients. Put them on a rotating weekly schedule. Shop from a list built around those meals. Go to the same store. Buy roughly the same things. Spend roughly the same amount. Every week. This is not about nutrition or minimalism or any lifestyle philosophy. This is about decision fatigue. By 7 o'clock on a weeknight, after a full day of making decisions at work and managing everything else life requires, your brain is tired. Tired brains do not cook. Tired brains open apps and spend $32 on a burger that was $15 at the restaurant. The meal routine eliminates the decision. There is no "what are we doing for dinner" conversation that slowly deteriorates into "let's just order something." The answer is already known. The ingredients are already there. The friction that leads to delivery is removed before it has a chance to appear. Boring? Absolutely. Effective? The people who do this consistently spend dramatically less on food than the people who keep it interesting. Interesting, in the food budget, almost always means expensive. There is a specific type of person who needs to be the first one to own something. Needs the new car smell. Needs to take it out of the box personally. Needs the experience of being the original owner of a thing that was, moments ago, brand new. That person is doing you a tremendous financial favor, because the moment they drive that car off the lot, it loses somewhere between 10 and 20% of its value. Immediately, before they've made a single payment. By year 2 or 3, a car that cost $45,000 might be worth $28,000. Same car, same reliability, same everything. Except now it's used, which means you can buy it for a fraction of what the original owner paid, finance it over a shorter term, insure it for less, and skip the part where you absorb the worst of the depreciation curve. The same logic applies to technology. A refurbished laptop or phone from a reputable seller, 2 generations old, costs half what the current model costs and does everything you actually need. The new premium is real, significant, and almost entirely psychological. Let someone else pay for the privilege of being first. You come in 18 months later, calm and unbothered, and pick up the same asset for dramatically less. It is one of the quietest wealth-building habits on this list precisely because it requires no discipline in the moment, just the willingness to not care what the car in your driveway says about you. This next one is going to feel like bad advice the first time you hear it. Stick with me. Invest in a low-cost total market index fund. Set up automatic contributions. Then, do nothing. Check it once a year, maybe twice if you're feeling adventurous. Otherwise, leave it completely alone and let it work. That's it. That is the strategy that has quietly outperformed the vast majority of actively managed funds over every meaningful long-term window. Not because it's clever, because it's cheap, it's consistent, and it doesn't involve a human making emotional decisions during a market correction. The financial media needs you to believe that markets require constant attention and active response, because eyeballs and anxiety are their product. The reality is that the single most destructive thing most individual investors do is react. Selling when things drop, chasing whatever went up last quarter, moving money around based on news cycles that have zero bearing on 30-year outcomes. Day trading is not investing. Day trading is gambling with extra steps and a spreadsheet that makes it feel sophisticated. The boring version, automatic contributions index fund, annual check-in, decades of patience, is not a consolation prize for people who don't know better. It is what better actually looks like. The people who understood this earliest and did the least tend to have the most. That outcome will never stop being funny to me. Your phone buzzes with a news alert. The market dropped 4%. Or your brother-in-law calls to tell you about something that's about to explode. Or you read something that makes you convinced your current financial setup is completely wrong and needs to change immediately. Here is the rule. You do not act today, not on liquidating investments, not on moving accounts, not on any significant financial decision triggered by news, emotion, a conversation, or a moment of sudden clarity that arrived at 10:30 at night. You write it down, you sit with it, you sleep on it, ideally for several nights, ideally until the emotional charge around the idea has settled into something quieter and more rational. The financial decisions that ruin people are almost never the ones they made after careful, boring, unhurried consideration. They are the ones made fast, in reaction, under the influence of fear, excitement, or someone else's urgency. Panic selling during a market dip locks in losses that time would have erased. Moving retirement money based on a news cycle is the financial equivalent of swerving violently because you saw something scary on the side of the road. Boredom is a protective mechanism. The delay between impulse and action is where bad decisions go to die. Build that delay into every significant financial choice you make, and you will automatically avoid a category of mistakes that cost ordinary people enormous amounts of money every single year. The best financial move you never made is the one you waited on until you didn't want to make it anymore. 10 habits. None of them exciting, none of them viral. Not a single one of them would survive 30 seconds as a social media post before getting buried under content about someone's trading profits, or their 30 under 30 moment, or whatever new thing is going to make everyone rich this quarter. And yet, the monthly autopsy, the 48-hour rule, paying the ghost first, sinking funds for the things you already know are coming, no spend days, paying annually to stop renting convenience on a monthly basis, the rotating meal plan that defeats the 7 o'clock delivery spiral, letting someone else absorb the depreciation, index funds on autopilot, sleeping on every big move until the urgency dissolves. These are the habits, boring, repetitive, completely unimpressive at a dinner party, and they work with a consistency that the exciting stuff simply does not match. Here's what I want you to sit with. Unsexy is the ultimate financial flex. The person doing all 10 of these things doesn't look wealthy. They drive a 3-year-old car. They eat the same Tuesday dinner they ate last Tuesday. They didn't check their portfolio when the market moved last week. They look, from the outside, like someone who isn't doing anything special. And in 20 years, they are going to be fine. More than fine. While the people who were always chasing the exciting version of wealth are still waiting for their moment to arrive. If this video gave you something useful, one habit you're actually going to start, one thing you recognized in yourself, I'd genuinely appreciate it if you hit the like button. It helps this content reach people who are quietly looking for the boring, honest version of financial advice and keep getting served the highlight reel instead. If you're not subscribed yet, consider it. This is what we do here. No hype, no products, no scheme of the month. Just the stuff that actually works, said plainly. And leave me a comment before you go. Tell me which one of these 10 habits you're starting this week. Not planning to start. Starting. There's something about writing it down in public, even in a YouTube comment section, that makes it slightly more real than just thinking it. Take care of yourselves. Keep it boring. I'll see you in the next one.